All right, everybody, welcome to Straight Line MTB, and today we're going to be talking about the 2020 Marin Rift Zone 3, and we're going to find out if she can go flat out or is she clapped out. Welcome back to Straight Line MTB, and today we're reviewing the 2020 Marin Rift Zone 3. This is a bike that we talked about in our budget bike video, which you can check out on our channel. After looking at the specs of the number 3 model that we're reviewing, I was really intrigued. This bike is a lower budget bike than I'm used to. I was interested to see how a bike of this price at $2,600 would compare to some of the higher end bikes. So Marin has been around since the mid 80s, and they're born in the mountain bike capital of the world, Marin, California, and I don't often see many Marins on the trail, and them being a bike company that's been around for quite a while, I was interested to ride my first Marin and see how they stack up against the competition. So today we're going to talk about the Marin. We're going to talk about the specs, the geometry, on-trail characteristics, and then we'll also talk about some of the pluses and minuses that I found about the bike and who this bike is really for. So our Marin Rift Zone 3 here is a size large. I'm 5'11" and I have a 31.5" inseam. I felt that this bike was really comfortable on the trail. It has a 65.5 degree head tube angle, which is on the slacker side, I think, for a bike with 125 millimeters of travel. The seat tube angle is a nice 76 degree. It's on the trend of modern geometry, but we are seeing bikes that are coming in at the 77 degree, 78, and pushing the 79 degree seat tube angle. So it's nice to see that Marin is moving towards the more modern geometry. It has short 425 millimeter chain stays. The wheelbase is a 1213 millimeters, and the reach is 480 millimeters. As far as specs go, I think it's really well built and thoughtful from Marin for a $2,600 bike. So just doing some brief overview of the components of this bike, Marin did a really good job, I think, speccing it for the $2,600 category. Comes with a Marzocchi Z2 fork, 130 millimeters. It's got a Fox DPS rear shock. It has Shimano 12-speed rear derailleur and shifter. It has a Sunrace cassette. It's a 11 tooth to 50 tooth and a KMC chain. It has house branded Marin stem, bar, and saddle, and the X-Fusion Manic dropper post at 150 millimeters. For more in-depth review of this bike, go ahead and go to Straight Line MTB so you can get a little bit more. So let's talk about this bike on the climb. So I'm just gonna straight away tell you it's not a fantastic climber. On the climbs in the open position, this bike bobs quite a bit. So I found myself using the middle position on the rear shock on anything on the dirt. Anything for like smooth climbs or paved climbs, you'll want to switch it to the firm position to get the maximum efficiency climbing up. This was a surprise to me because our 140 millimeter Orbea Occam that we reviewed climbed really well in the open position, and then also even our Nuke Proof Mega 290 I felt climbed a little bit better than this bike as well. I'm not sure if it's due to the shock tune, but that is something that I found interesting. Also, on some of the punchier climbs, I felt the front end wanting to raise up a bit on those climbs. I didn't notice it as much as our other two bikes, the Occam or the Nuke Proof Mega, and that could be due to the Rift Zone shorter wheelbase and the slack head tube angle. Not something that was super problematic, but something that I did have to adjust to. Also, I did lose a little bit of traction here and there on the more technical ascents, something you will have to adjust to while you're riding. Now let's talk about my favorite part of the program, the descending. The Rift Zone surprised me on the downs because it was far more capable than the 125 millimeter rear travel would suggest. So on the fast, flowy berm trails with jumps, this bike really wanted to go super, super fast, and sometimes it's gonna scare you just a little bit. Keep you on your game. I did find that it wasn't as poppy as I had expected. It's not gonna just hop off things like our Orbea Occam did, but it will handle jumps no problem, and it corners really well. Going into the more technical trails is where I found myself growing a little uncomfortable, and that could be due to the short wheelbase and of course the shorter travel where it doesn't have all those extra millimeters to get you out of trouble. So on the steep sections into fast, rocky, chattery is where I had to find out I had to pick my lines a little bit better, which was different for me as I had been riding our new Proof Mega for quite a while, where that bike just wants to plow through things. This bike gets a little bit more sporty. It will force you to choose your lines and be more thoughtful going downhill. And just for some reference, this bike I felt ate up the chatter a little bit better than our Orbea Occam at 140 millimeters of travel. So that was a surprise. This bike is going to be as capable as you are comfortable on a bicycle. One of our viewers commented that he threw a coil rear shock on this bike and he's racing enduro races. So obviously it is gonna be awesome. So speaking of swapping parts, what parts would I swap if I were to keep this bike a little bit longer? I will say the first thing I would have to swap is the rear cassette. I think the Sun Race cassette and the KMC chain really are a letdown in the drivetrain. It's a little bit on the clunky side and you don't benefit from the new Shimano 12-speed crisp shifting and shifting under power. So that's something I would like to change. When you backpedal on the top two rear cogs, that chain falls down and it's a real pain in the ass. Other thing I would swap is the seat post, not because the Manic is not good, it's actually really awesome. It's just that it's too short. Something else that I swapped right away were the stock wheels and tires. If you follow me on the Instagram, you see that I tear tires and I dent rims. So I swapped the wheels for a set of wheels that I had, as they're really strong and they have a higher point of engagement, where the Marin brand hubs were a 15-point engagement, which is pretty low. And the Flow Snap tires seem pretty draggy. I swapped the rear tire for a faster rolling to aid in climbing. An awesome plus of the stock Marin wheels is they came already taped for tubeless, so all you need is valves and some sealant and you're already tubeless. If you want more information on that, we did a video on how to go tubeless on our channel. I think the biggest surprise on the spec of this bike were the brakes. That was something that I thought I was gonna have to change right away because this is not easy to stop. The Shimano MT420 4-piston brakes have tons of power. They stopped no problem. I never felt them fade. I never had an issue where they were running out of power. That was awesome. So that's great that there's another item that you don't have to change on your new bike. So let's talk about who I think this bike is for. I think this is a great bike to start. This is a great starter bike or a one option bike. So if you're just starting and getting into mountain biking and you want to look at a bike that's going to be well-rounded, it's going to climb, get you to the top, and it's going to descend and help you grow on the descents, the Marin Rift Zone is a good option. They do have two other lower options in the aluminum category, and they also have two carbon models. So you have lots of options there. And if you're buying it as an all-around bike, and it's going to handle the descents a lot better than you'd expect for a 125 millimeter bike. So me being somebody who carries two bikes at a time, I like to have a bigger enduro bike and a more trail focused bike. My trail focused bike, I like to be a little bit better climber. So this is not a bike that I would fit into that category for myself, but that's just a personal preference. So now that we've done our review, our Marin is going to go to a new home and we have a new bike coming in next week. And we're going to do a reveal video, so don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out and so you can see what bike we picked. It's going to be a goodie. Again, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget, again, to subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all the social media platforms as well as Straightline MTB. I will have all the links to all the products below and our other videos. And I appreciate you guys watching. See you next time. Boom. All right, everybody, welcome to welcome to Straightline MTB, and today we're going to be talking. Yes. I was on a roll.
Sorry.
Are you sure when you're holding that it's not getting in the shot? I need to start over. I just don't feel good. I need to. Hold on. I'm getting there.
For a 125 millimeter travel bike, you would suspect this to be very speedy to the top of the hill. I found it to be quite opposite.
So now let's talk about my favorite part, going down. Didn't sound right. And this bike is gonna, I would probably swap is the seat poop. You're gonna swap me out? Wait, what was I saying about him?